What's up, my good people? This is Joey Young. Let's talk about self-talk today and how it can help you accomplish your goals and just live an overall higher quality of life. We're going to talk about kindness, how it can help accelerate you towards the tasks you're trying to accomplish, and how it can help you to just be the best version of yourself in a way that I think you'll find interesting. Not many people think of self-talk in a way where it can help you just be the best version of yourself or manifest positive emotions. Most people think of self-talk in a way where it gets you all riled up and hyped about accomplishing, a goal or, pole vaulting higher or running longer, that sort of thing. And we'll talk about that, but there's more uses than just that. When I think about self-talk, I first and foremost think about kindness. Kindness to yourself. I mean, how many words do you say to yourself a day? Do you ever think about that? It's probably a lot more than you think. If you're not consciously thinking about how you're talking to yourself, you might be missing out on a lot of opportunity to speak kindly and to reinforce the best parts of yourself. You see, I think we're all intrinsically born with some level of deserving respect and kindness as human beings. And some of the words that you're saying to yourself right now in your head might be words that you would never ever let one human being say to another because they're just so unkind. But unfortunately, it's so easy to fall into the habit of saying negative things about yourself to yourself. It's so easy to make that leap from, man, that was a rough situation right there. I wouldn't do it that way again. To, oh, that was hard. I suck at that. You see the difference there? Like, one situation you're like, man, that was tough, but I won't do it the same way again. The second way of saying something to yourself is, that sucked, therefore I suck. That's a big difference in meaning, but a small leap in our brains because we're not thinking about how we say things to ourselves. One is, I'm going to learn from this and grow. The other is shame-fueled talk. It's getting down on yourself and telling yourself that you are less than, not enough, can't do something because of an action you just took, a simple mistake, something you wouldn't do again, right? So self-talk is an opportunity to flip the script and tell ourselves things that might be just at the core of our humanity, the respect that we deserve, as opposed to telling ourselves things like, after making a mistake, that, oh, I'll never be good at that, or I'm forever going to suck at relationships, or I'm never going to be able to build that business or get that skill I want, right? So when I think about self-talk, first and foremost, it's about respect. And if you're struggling with feeling a sense of self-worth, check the words you're telling yourself, because you really don't deserve to be so hard on yourself. Again, if you say things in your brain that you wouldn't tolerate anyone saying to you, or someone saying to someone else, you would say that's mean and that's unnecessary, then why would you say it to yourself? And that's the first power of a positive self-talk. It just gives you the respect and dignity that you deserve. The second cool thing about self-talk is that it can actually define the narrative in our brain. Not a lot of people are aware of the narrative that we create as we think about what's happening around us throughout the day. I was going on a run quite a while ago, and just around the neighborhood. And I remember I was about 3/4 of the way through the run, and it was not going well. I wasn't feeling good that morning. My legs were hurting. I was tired, But I was on my run anyway. I wanted to do it, get it done. And right before, I turned the corner to get back to my house, I remember thinking this thought, yikes, this sucks. I don't know if I can do this. I think I should walk the rest of the way. And that thought crossed my brain. It sounded really enticing in the moment because I was like, you know what? It's not too long. I've done most of the run. I'll just quit while I'm ahead, right? But then I thought to myself, hold on a second. How many people run multiple marathons a year and do triathlons and Ironmans and how many people run double this distance that I ran today multiple days per week? I can do this. Just because my body's telling me it hurts doesn't mean that I cannot accomplish this run that I set out to do, which is very within my capability. And so just having that thought of like, you know what? I can do this, actually flipped the entire experience that I was having in my body. And because I thought to myself, well, multiple people run probably double this distance every day, I thought, well, I can easily make it to my house then. And so my body was like, okay, sounds good. And I ran the rest of the way to my house. Not only did I complete it, but I felt better during that run, because I remember thinking to myself like, oh, this is probably very, very achievable for me. I was just thinking about how much it hurt and how much this sucked that I had to, push to the end. Instead, I chose to think about how I could accomplish this, how it's totally within my realm of capability to do this, and my body changed the way it felt. And I don't exactly know how to describe it, but in that moment, I just knew I could do it, and I did it, and I got it done. And that's the power of the narrative in our brain that we create based on our experiences. You see, there's two different things happening. There's the input that we're getting from whatever's happening around us, people saying stuff to us experiencing an environment, something happening halfway around the world we hear about. There's all that stuff, all that we have no control over. And then there's the meaning we ascribe to it. And this is one of the most powerful things I learned in the realm of personal development. Those two things are separate. Just because someone insults your face and your mom and tells you you'll never be good at anything and you should just go crawl in a hole and die, doesn't mean you have to chop their head off. Obviously, I'm exaggerating, but there's like moments where you experience making a mistake and you can tell yourself, I actually am learning here. Just because I made a mistake doesn't mean I'm bad at this. I'm just bad at this right now. You can even have someone tell you to your face, I don't like you, or I don't think you'll ever be measure up to anything. And you can tell yourself in that moment, maybe, in the past you might have said, well, maybe they're right. Maybe I'll never be good at this. Or maybe you can tell yourself, okay, someone has a perspective that I will not be good at this. Wow, they must be someone really, really unhappy or have very little social etiquette, because if they actually wanted to help me, they would have provided constructive feedback. But it sounds like they're making a comment about their life more so than mine, because all they could say was harmful things. They have no interest in helping me be better, and they have no actual tools to give me to help me be better as well. So see that flip now? Now you're telling yourself like, like, weird. Someone did a thing, or something happened around the other side of the world, or someone let me down, and what does that mean to you is very different than what maybe you grew up believing that things like that should mean. You can change the way right now, today, you can change the way that you react and you ascribe meaning to scenarios and conversations and events in your life. You can do that at any time. So what are you subconsciously ascribing meaning to in your life right now? Might be worth investigating, because when you tell yourself that something is happening to you and it's horrible and it's bad, and you're telling yourself that the world is ending, maybe it's not. Maybe it's just your trained reaction to that event and you ascribing some sort of meaning to that event happening. I'll tell you a story. I recently had something very disturbing happen in the business world. It was just a huge setback. I remember hearing the news and I was like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. And I literally, like, when I heard the news, just had to stand there for 30 seconds thinking about all the implications of what was going on in this after hearing this news. And I was like, man, this is going to be so much work. I'll have to have so many conversations. This is going to be a lot of figuring out things I don't know anything about. Like, it's just the implications. I could have stood there for 30 more minutes just thinking about what would have to happen now. And then I remember, thinking, okay, Joey, you're ascribing a ton of meaning to this situation right now. Let's ask a better question. Not, how is the world falling apart around me? Because I knew that very clearly. Instead, how is this happening for me? I asked myself, how is this an opportunity? How could this be working for my good in this scenario? And this is not some, I know some people might be thinking, well, Joey, that sounds pretty fake, man. Like it's like if I just think it's okay, it's gonna be okay, sort of like false positivity. It's not that. It was just saying, okay, yeah, I know this is gonna be rough. Like, this is a huge upset. There will be lots of work in the future. This will create setbacks for sure. But I'm gonna ask myself instead, like, what do I actually have as an opportunity that I didn't have before? Let's just think about that for a second. What advantages or leverage do I have now that I didn't before this event happened to me? And after thinking about that, literally a couple minutes after I heard about this, I was coming up with ideas about how to improve the situation. And now, after that event that could have shook, me to the core in the business, we are now much stronger, much healthier. We make more money now after all that events unraveled, and I responded to it in a very, how could this be for me sort of mindset. And so I know this can help you as well. Even things you think are gigantic setbacks, there's always opportunity if you just use self-talk to say to yourself, you know what, where's the opportunity? How is this not happening to me, but happening for me? How is this situation happening for me? That's a great question and a great self-talk tool. Okay, cool. So self-talk is also powerful, and this is one of my favorites here. Self-talk helps you manifest your best self, the best version of who you are. We talked about how self-talk gives you respect. We talked about how it helps you, become better at work and manifest, good things at, in your exercise and in your job. But like, how does self-talk help you actually be your highest self? And I'll tell you a story. Like, when I started out, I used to think that I had certain attributes about me, and one of them was that I wasn't capable of certain things. I wasn't actually able to accomplish some of the goals that I have since accomplished. And one of the first things that I did to help myself in the beginning, make me feel like I could accomplish some of these goals, was I wrote down a handful of words that described who my best self was, who the best version of myself was, how I wanted to show up every day, what I wanted to encapsulate any day of the week, a Monday, a Sunday, who is Joey at his best? And those are very, personal words that I pulled up, and I encourage you to do this exercise yourself. In fact, I've now formalized this exercise. It's called the North Star exercise. It's in my program, the Professional Results Coaching Program. It's one of the first things we do to make sure that we're on the same page as a coach and as the coachee. What is your goal? Who are you looking to be? Before you even talk about what you want to accomplish, we talk about who you want to be. Anyway, I had these fears that I couldn't accomplish things, so I wrote down, and one of the words that I wrote down as the best version of myself was a word that helped me to believe that the best version of myself could accomplish those goals. And then I remember feeling a lie come up in my brain. And that lie was, you know what, Joey? You've never really done that before. You've never been brave. You've never been bold. You've never had courage, really, in a real sense, like this level before. So I don't think you're able to be this type of person. And I remember thinking that to myself, and I remember thinking, wow, like that is such a powerful lie. For some reason, that lie hit the core of me. And after you do the North Star exercise and you figure out what are the words that describe the highest version of yourself, you'll probably instantly, like me, get hit with a bunch of lies telling you why exactly you'll never be that person, right? Why it'll never work out to become more like that highest version of yourself, that person who's living in the most integrity with yourself. And so that lie for me was like, Joey, you've never demonstrated this courage before, this boldness, this tenacity. So you're never going to be able to do it in the future, right? And I remember thinking to myself, this is dangerous. I need to start putting a new layer of truth over this lie to smother it. And I remember thinking to myself, I don't have to get anyone's permission to be bold, including myself. I remember thinking, I can be bold without anyone's permission, even my own permission. And that was such a huge shift in my brain, because now I'm like, wow, I guess I was believing that I needed to have someone's permission or okay to be bold and to serve in the way I want to serve and be the highest self that I want to be. But I really don't need that. And even days when I don't believe I can be bold, I can still be bold. I don't need my brain to tell me that I'm bold today, that I'm courageous, that I have what it takes. I can just go and do that without anyone's permission. And that's such a beautiful thought. And whatever that word is for you that you want to become, whatever that highest attribute of yourself that you want to manifest every day, you can use self-talk to cover those lies that pop up and show up as who you want to show up as every day. Because you're telling yourself, this is who I am. I don't need to, X, Y, and Z, whatever the lie is telling me. You can come up with that. So do the North Star exercise if you haven't before. Identify those lies and then write a sentence that directly contradicts it, and watch how you're so much easier able to develop that best version of yourself. And that's the third power of self-talk, and it's so cool. And I hope this has been helpful for you today. Really, I've tried to encapsulate so many aspects of self-talk that hopefully would be helpful for you. If you like this, please drop a like and comment, your thoughts about self-talk. I'd love to hear what you have to say. And remember, you're doing better than you think, and you're worth more than you know. Hey, if you like this video, I know you're gonna love the free weekly Super Cycle Method training linked in the description below. It's a course that I created to help you to finally get control of your to-do list, get rid of the overwhelm you feel right now, and to finally carve out that space in your week to accomplish that really important goal that you've had for a while. Whether it's to upgrade your career, start or grow your business, or maybe just develop that skill you've wanted to develop. The weekly Super Cycle Method is a weekly planning course to help you to get all of that done while not increasing the overall hours you work. It's a really awesome system. I know you'll love it. Click the link in the description. I'll shoot an email over to you with a link to it right now. And did I mention it's free? It's totally free to you. And hey, like and subscribe to this video if you enjoyed this. That'll help spread the message here to other people on this platform, and take a moment to share this video with 3 of your friends. Just grab the link to the video and shoot it in a text. Say, hey, I really enjoyed this. Check it out. Nothing better than loving on your friends with some great free content on personal and professional development. So take a moment to share this video with 3 of your friends, and hey, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for your support.